Hey there, business owners. Have you ever felt like you're on the edge of something with your business, but you're not quite sure how to take the next step? Well, you're in luck, because today we're diving deep into the strategies for business growth. And let me tell you, it's not just about the numbers in the spreadsheets. It's about unlocking the full potential of your business and seizing every opportunity that comes your way. So if you're wondering, who am I? Who's Brian to talk about business growth to me? Well, I'm the Chief Growth Officer here at SMB Franchise Advisors, and before I landed in the world of business strategy and would talk franchising, I cut my teeth on Wall Street and in tech organizations, navigating the complex world of private equity, finance, building companies, selling them, finding buyers, and sales. So let me tell you, the transition from Wall Street to Main Street is not just about changing scenery. It's about embracing a whole new mindset. From the boardroom to the storefront, Wall Street to Main Street, I've seen firsthand how the power of strategic thinking and innovation drive business growth and are needed to drive business growth, no matter what you do.
Wow, Brian, that's fascinating. I appreciate you sharing the background and, just given the channel dedicated to businesses and how they can take that business to that next level. You're a business owner, you've had some success, maybe you're in your local community, but now you're thinking, how do I take my business to that next level? And given your background, private equity, you've probably evaluated hundreds, thousands of businesses, seen businesses grow through the private equity route. Now at SMB Advisors, you've seen franchise or businesses grow to a franchise. There's a bunch of different growth strategies. Can you help us kind of break down, as a business owner looking for those next growth strategies? What are those different avenues for a business owner to take that business from step one to that next level, if that makes sense, Brian?
Yeah. Look, at SMB, from a franchising perspective, and I'll kind of work backwards, right? We say to more people, you're not ready to franchise your business. Go and find some more efficiencies in your business. Go and operationalize a little bit better. Go and build the scale into your core before we say, yeah, come on, let's just get you franchised and have you start finding business partners to run those local units, right, with you and for you and grow your brand. So I always think that's an interesting approach that we bring, because it's much easier to find a way to grow than it is to pick one out of a hat and go, that's exactly what I have to do, right? And so when you think about the funding landscape, it kind of moves up this classic curve that I use all the time when I'm talking to folks. And it's a J curve. It looks very smooth and pretty, but we all know that's not what it is. It's little steps along the way that move upwards over time, hopefully, right? But there's three sort of categories that some people might look to from a financing perspective to grow their business. Are they looking for, venture investment? Are they taking something super early, unproven, trying to find their product market fit, and then bringing investors along who might help them deliver the value in the very earliest days? Those, companies are very popular in the technology field, not as much in franchising, right? And we could talk about why. But from a franchise perspective, and really these businesses that are in growth stage, the next part of that curve from a private equity perspective is growth, right? And so what is the growth equity? I need this money to go do more of X. I need this money to go fix Y, something I did when I was scrappy and young and just starting up, right? When you're building what that part of the cycle looks like, there's investors who just do that. They look to help you, but they already know you. They can try your product somewhere. They can talk to existing customers. They can understand who you are. And then the last stage, right, as far as, especially from a franchise perspective, you think of platform brands or these really large storied sort of brands and operations. You might look at an IPO, an initial public offering in the public markets. You might look at a full buyout, right, where somebody is going to buy your entire franchise company or system. And they're saying, you've done so much great stuff, you've grown so well, that we know the next level is something that we can add value to do, right? It's not just about the dollars at that point. Typically, it's about maybe their strategic investors, they're sharing resources across different brands. And again, whether that's a technology company or a franchise system or almost any business, full buyout, position is something that for a founder can really create generational wealth and change.
That's awesome, Brian. And I really like the analogy of kind of like the J curve. And, you're a business owner, you're thinking about kind of those different stages of growth. Let's take it back to like the very beginning when a business owner comes up with like that original idea. When the business is just starting, they aren't even a business yet, they're just getting started. Do they need from the very beginning do they need to know, like, am I going to go the private equity route? Am I going to go the franchise route? Or do you just have the business, you have some success, and then you start to evaluate the different options?
Yeah. So we tell people all the time, right? Begin with the end in mind. Yeah. But then I also tell people all the time, the only thing I guarantee are errors and omissions, right? As we grow and learn and change and repivot and position. And, if you had your beautiful business plan that the bank approved when you started something in 2018, and then in 2020, it was COVID, I think you threw it away and you figured out how to do something else, and you came back maybe to whatever you did, or you said, oh my gosh, this thing we pivoted into is an even better business, or something that we're resonating more with for the ongoing, right? Not just about that one moment in time. So you want to start with some goal, but goals can change, right? And the people around you to help you do that should also be encouraging to find those folks who, again, not just building for today, are building for the future, no matter what your business is.
Mm-hmm. No, that's awesome. And just to really break that down for a business owner, when you think about the long term in mind, can you specifically kind of help a business owner? What do you mean by thinking about the long term vision? Are you thinking about private equity? Are you thinking about franchising? Are you already thinking about selling the business in 20, 30, 40 years? Or where should the business owner's kind of mind be as they're kind of just getting started?
Yeah. They need to either have one of two things on your hands when you're starting your business in the earliest days, right? I say all the time, it's got to be problem or passion. You either love something so much that you have to go get it, do it, create it, share it with other people, or there's a problem that you go, I've been doing this thing this one way for 10 years, 20 years, whatever my career was maybe, right? And I hate it. And I know there's a better way to do this. And I know there's a more important way, and that I can share that with other people. So whether you're starting from a problem or a passion, you just have to get it started. Because what happens is some folks come to us at SMB and they say, I've been in business for a year. I want to sell my business in 5 years to private equity. And here's how I want to grow. And here's what I want to do. And it's definitely franchising. And that's great. If you want to do that, we can make sure that you have a resilient system and that you find the right partners as franchisees, and you get the right, people around you to help you, whether that's sales organizations or broker networks, other operational support, whatever you need to actually hit the goal that you set, right? But if you've built that business at the core, value level on a problem or a passion, you can pretty reasonably justify getting to whatever that, growth looks like for you. I want to build something that my children can have and work at, right? I want to have generational opportunity that way, kind of work. I want to have a couple key clients and then, take a little rest. You're allowed to do that, right? To recharge and to come back. Business is in cycles. So whatever folks dream that they want to do for their business, we try and help them plan to get there, whether that's from a money perspective, from a product perspective.
No, that's awesome, Brian. I appreciate that. So you're a business owner, you start to kind of have this long-term vision in mind. Now you're starting to actually enact those steps. Is there, every business is probably very different when they start to look at private equity, when they start to look at franchising. Is there is there a one size fits all for year one, you should look at private equity, year three, you should look at franchising, or revert and vice versa? Or how do those different stages of growth work? And when should you start looking towards those different methods of growth?
Yeah, the other graph I use all the time, with our team and our clients, it's a big T, right? So from a franchising perspective, if you're in the home healthcare space, if you're in the landscaping space, if you're a tax business, right, audit and tax services and bookkeeping, if you're, doing full service restaurants, right, no matter what the concept is, that is your horizontal that you're in as far as your business, right? The industry is hospitality. The industry is tax services. The industry is home health. How do you want to grow? Is supporting that T, right? And so if the up and down vertical is, I want to go raise some money, I want to do it all myself, and I've got a great team around me of managers, and they're going to go and do something for me as my employees, well, that's not franchising, but I wish you a lot of luck. That's a great way to grow a business, right? If you say, I don't want to manage all those openings, I do want to be there, I do want to coach and counsel, teach, having the heart of a teacher is very important to understand what the demands are as far as you're just going to be training and guiding and supporting people. That's not any easier than opening. It's just different, right? So what do you want to do as you grow? Those are the conversations around whether it's right for you to start franchising today, start by raising some money, or going and using, reinvesting in yourself from the proceeds of your existing startup business. What are your bank relationships like, with those Main Street kind of banks, the credit unions and other lenders that are out there who do a lot of bespoke lending in the business space, not just the SBA. So lots of options that we talk through as it relates to how you might start to grow.
No, that's really helpful, Brian. And as a business, they're contemplating like these different avenues of growth. Is there like a particular reason why someone should, focus on private equity versus focus in on franchising?
Yeah, I think what's interesting is there's a lot more intersection of those things today than there used to be. And so when you used to say, I want to grow and I pick my vertical, that was it. It was a T. And maybe now it's a little more like chart paper, because you can go and say, well, I raised some money when I got started, and then I built it myself, and we took, some of our franchisees in as partners, and we did other things as we grew. And now we're going to sell the whole system anyway. So we're still ending up in the private equity pool, right? I think that it really comes down to, and at SMB, we say this all the time, right? It's all about the relationship. You need to make sure that no matter what way you grow, no matter which way you take your business forward, you're doing it with the highest standards, with the most responsible sort of posture that you have, because then when it's time to pick a partner, somebody who's very focused in the segment that you're in and understands it is going to be able to really advise you and be a true partner as you grow the brand. So there's a lot more intersection today, especially as the business gets older, frankly, and just has been around longer. And you've got those customers who love you and love your product for passion. Oh my gosh, this cookie tastes so great. Or for the problem, wow, I hate doing my taxes, right? So out of those sort of fields, what do you branch to do? They do kind of intersect a lot more than you think. So I always tell folks, you never know which way you're going to go, and make sure that you're really conscious about it. Because if you think about technology companies, right, they typically scale and sell to a larger competitor, or the public, or they have some very defined path. When you're a small to medium-sized business, there's a lot more optionality as you choose the growth path. And so you could start franchising and say, never mind, that's not for me. You could come later to the game in franchising. I mean, there's a restaurant system where I am in New Jersey. They got bought by private equity and then started franchising. They probably had 12 or 15 units open corporately before they started franchising. So you never know which way that sort of capital will flow, but it really is a great way to grow a business when you make that decision that you want to grow.
That's fascinating. And that was actually leading, as you were speaking, that's what I was thinking about. I've seen a lot of businesses, they use the franchising model. Then after, 3-5 years, they get private equity involved so that they can continue to get additional resources to support those franchisees. And then, franchising to private equity. But I was going to ask, do companies also go start with private equity to raise money, and then they start to use the franchising model, which you just totally answered that question? Because I'm curious, as a business, we're talking about growth strategy. So you want to take that business to the next level. And obviously that comes with a lot of resources. You need capital to do so. And private equity, I kind of think of, you're raising capital for your own business. And franchising, you're kind of using other people's capital to uplift them in their own business ventures. Is there, as you're starting to evaluate those two different segments, are there some questions you should be asking yourself, whether you want to go kind of using other people's money, using Wall Street's money, or, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. Look, that is the $1 million question that with clients, we hope to answer over a long, relationship of time and evaluate the options to do, right? I think what's really interesting is that, and you hit it on the head, the private equity components of growing the business used to be only dream state full buyout. And as we look in the market down that J curve, I mean, I'm talking to somebody right now who's got 2 restaurants open themselves. They know they need to refine a little bit of their operation. But as they continue to do that purely from the economics perspective, like the cost of doing their business, what makes it tenable for franchising, because they've decided that's how they want to grow, they're going to go raise some venture capital, very early stage private equity money. And they're going to do that to be able to support early franchisees, to refine their corporate process, and then to build an infrastructure, right, that they choose to do, not only corporately because they've got 2 stores and they want a few more, but also with a franchise system as they grow. So the fact that you can play kind of in the pool and make those decisions as you grow the business are really very unique to whatever year, 2024. I don't know that we would have been having this conversation, even 10 years ago, where there was certainly private equity franchising, but the private equity sort of scaling model down the curve from a readiness perspective, very popular in tech, very popular in, some other segments where the cost burden is just a very different kind of structure and the sales cycles are different than from a B2B perspective when you're selling franchises and when you're selling, those problems and passions.
Wow, that's awesome. And I know we've already covered a lot of ground in a short amount of time for, those business owners that are looking for those next stage of growth. When we talk about the private equity, franchising, and, over the years, it's clear there's been a ton of intersection between the different routes. And to me, it sounds like there really is just no one size fits all for a business owner. You need that full outside mentor to be able to dive into your business and evaluate these different strategies and the overlap of the different strategies, or maybe continuing to open up more corporate locations, which I'm sure we'll dive into in future episodes. But Brian, out of today's episode, we really want to give business owners actionable items for them to take those next steps of their business. What would you say from today's episode? A business owner, they're looking for that next stage of growth. They're considering, they've heard franchising thrown out there. They're aware of Wall Street. Maybe they just want to continue to do it on their own. What would you tell that business owner to just start to think about before they start to make any crazy investments?
Exactly. I would say, whether you're a seasoned entrepreneur or you're just starting out through the business journey, there is no one size fits all approach, right? And so you need to find the time and the energy and the effort to find the strategy that aligns with your goals. If you choose franchising, for example, you're starting a new business, right? It might not be opening another location or something physical or from a territory perspective that you're doing, but you're starting in the new industry of franchising to grow your business. And so that is going to take a different set of resources and vision and focus for the future as you look to grow. There are people to help you get there. It's an exciting place to be, and there's not a wrong decision when you've made it. But I would say the same for any of those other business paths as well, right? When you come to the market and say, I want to grow, this is what I want to do I go raise money, franchise my business, sell my business and go do something else because I've got other ideas, right? The entrepreneurial mind is always working and changing, and that's also a part of what makes it fun when you get to choose the way that you want to grow.
No, absolutely. And that's what it's all about, having business owners, people in control of their destiny, using the mindset, those outside resources of someone that does have that industry experience and what you're looking for to really kind of fast track that process to get where you're looking for. So anyone, if you found today's episode valuable, go check out the SMB website. We'll have the link in bio. Subscribe, hit the notification bell, like, share, subscribe, comment, whatever you can do to help out the algorithm. We're here to help and educate you. So we appreciate you guys tuning in, and we're excited to get this YouTube channel launched and continue the educating everyone. Thank you for tuning in, everyone.
Thanks.